Hello, hello, my friends. AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink. Welcome back to my face and my card making space and a couple of holiday cards. I'm using some of the newest Waffle Flower November release. I will have a link to the release in the description box below the video for you to check out because there's a bunch of fabulous products. I, of course, for this video, focused on one of the new additions to the Postage Collage collection because love, obsessed. At the end of the video, I'll link, I do have a playlist of all the videos I've done so far using a bunch of the Waffle Flower Postage Collage products because I love them. I love them. So, new stencil set to add to the collection along with all sorts of other fun goodies. As always, I will also link to everything I used in the description box below the video. My links are affiliate links. That just means that if you click on one of my links, end up placing an order, I do get a little kickback from that at no extra cost to you. It is what helps pay the bills, keeps the channel going. And because this is part of my holiday card series, at the end of the video as well, I'll have a link to the holiday 2024 playlist for you to check out if you're interested. That's it for the housekeeping. Let's get into making the cards. So I die cut panels of white cardstock using the OG Postage Collage die set. This is the A2 sized one, so it's slightly smaller than 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. And this is the one that has many coordinating stencil sets for it. I forgot to mention in the intro, but I will post a link to the list I created quite some time ago that I continue to add to that has all of the Waffle Flower Postage Collage collection in basically in the order that it was released. So I'll have that in the description box below the video. And then it'll also be on my blog in picture links, a little easier to navigate. So I die cut the cardstock. I stuck the panels to my Waffle Flower grit mat. And I did 2 because like I tend to do. If I've got everything out, why not do more than 1? And then I'm using this is the new snowy stencil set for the Postage Collage wafer die. And this one does not have to be Christmas. You can see it's just basically winter, so you could definitely do any occasion with this one. I just went with Christmas because I need to make a lot of Christmas cards. But yeah, this could be anything. So for all of my blending, I am using Altenew fresh dye inks and just some Altenew mini blending brushes. I could have used my Waffle Flower brushes. I have so many brands of blending brushes. It's getting a little bit ridiculous, honestly. Yeah, I grabbed these ones because they were sitting on my desk, even though I keep my Waffle Flower ones directly behind me because I use them in a million, all the time. They're all great. Choose whichever ones work best for you. So I'm using various inks to do my blending. And I've mentioned this in many other videos, specifically with Waffle Flower stencil sets. It's kind of hard to see on camera, but in real life, there's etching detail on the stencil itself. So it'll say things like trees, mountains, background, sky, light, medium, dark, all these sorts of just clues to kind of help out. And it is one of those things too where it's really nice to have that, but it's if you do it once, layer everything up and it's okay, that's what this part is, that's what this is, this is where I want this color, etc. So I kept my blending and my colors pretty basic, but then as I was doing this, I was ooh, this would look really nice if you did it in shades of purple, or just kept it more monochromatic. That would be really fun too and look really pretty. So I throw the ideas out there because, as always, I don't have enough time to do all the things that are bouncing around in this big old brain of mine. Anyway, after I did all my blending, I took 2 panels of just red cardstock, and these are A2 sized panels, so 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. And I pulled out one of the original stencil sets that was released with the Postage Collage. This is just the Postage Collage coloring stencil, and I'm only using that little border right around the very edge there, and a darker red ink. This is Velvet fresh dye ink from Altenew, and just blending that around the little perimeter so I'll have that little stripey, effect. So did that on both of these panels, and then it's a the stencil set has 2 stencils. So then I use the second stencil to finish off the little stripy pattern for this panel. And yeah, I haven't stamped the cancellation marks, anything like that. I was trying not to. I was like, oh, I'll keep it because it really, for these cards, the postage collage was more, it's kind of going to be more of a background element. But I am going to cave, as I always do. That's fine. But did all of this first. So I got these panels with their little stripy element blended. And then I used this is the new Snowcapped tree die set. There's 2 different size trees, and there are little, like that little die there, you can see it on the packaging, for the trunks. I didn't use that. I just used the little trees. And I die cut them from 2 different shades of green cardstock. And then I die cut it from some white glitter cardstock. And you can see I'm just using my little cutter bee scissors, because they've got the little fine tip, just to snip apart the snow portion. And because it cuts almost all the way, so that you kind of have the choice. But I just kind of finish those little cuts off to remove that from these white glitter pieces. So I have just the snow portion to adhere on top of the green cardstock die cut trees. So after I'd snip it off, I would just glue those right on top of the trees with my craft tacky glue. So then it makes these look snow capped. Super cute. This was super easy to do because, again, all that, it's almost pierced all the way through. You just got to snip them apart. And then there's a bunch of like detail that's pierced into them as well. I've talked about this before. I like when wafer dies do stuff like that. It just adds that extra, texture and dimension and whatnot. So I just worked my way through snipping apart these little glitter cardstock portions, and then I would just adhere them to the green cardstock die cuts. And then I've got my little snow-capped trees with their glittery snow. And yeah, you can see my postage collage there. It looks great as is. But, and I've talked about this before as well, I don't know what it is. I really like stamping the cancellation details. It's one of my favorite parts. So I caved, couldn't resist. I really wanted to add all that. So I'm using the Postage Collage North Pole stamp set. That came out back in like July when they were with Waffle Flowers Christmas in July release. And then I'm using the OG, the original Postage Collage stamp set just for that big cancellation stamp. Again, I don't know why. I really like stamping that on these. So I'm stamping the elements with VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink. And in the Postage Collage North Pole set, there's little snowflakes. So I'm stamping them as like cancellation, but I'm actually going to use them on the inside of the card as well. So I just go around, stamp them wherever, just having fun with it because they don't need to be stamped perfectly. I think that's also why I just love it so much, because it's like, meh, if I make a mistake or things are crooked or I smudge ink on these, it just doesn't matter because it's like, oh, they're canceled stamps. They're not supposed to be perfect. And like I always say, perfection is overrated anyway. So once I was done stamping those, I pulled out some baker's twine and I just threaded it through, roughly halfway on this panel, and then wrapped it around, tied it in a bow using my reverse tweezers to hold the knot in place so I could make my little bow, pull everything tight, remove the reverse tweezers, pull everything tight again, fiddle with it a bit more, and then trim off the tails. And then I've got my little baker's twine bows on these panels. And then for those little trees, I'm going to pop those on with some thin foam squares to give them just a smidge of dimension. And then the smaller tree, since it's layered on top, I just put the foam squares along the bottom. And then I add a bit of craft tacky glue to adhere it to the larger tree. And then I can pop that into place. So then I'm going to get those adhered onto those panels. And then I trimmed down just a piece of blue cardstock to slightly larger than this postage stamp wafer die. So this will just frame it up a bit and just brings out more of the blue. And then I'm going to adhere that to those red backgrounds that I had used that stencil on to give it that little stripey effect. So adhere all those together. And then once I've got these panels adhered, I'm going to just stick my big acrylic blocks on top, just to hold everything down for a couple minutes, let that glue dry. And then, of course, we're going to add splatter. This time I'm not adding black splatter. I usually do that with these two because same thing. It's like, it just works. It goes with the cancellation marks because I always stamp them in black. You could stamp them, if you want it to be more subtle, you could stamp them in gray. Blue would look really pretty. Again, I have a thing for, it's black ink. I like the look of it. But for the splatter today, I'm just using my go-to Picket Fence Studios paper splatter watercolor in the liquid white snowflake that I just adore. So I put a bit of that in a palette, used my fan brush, and liberally splattered both of these card fronts with that. So it's just going to be like shimmery, but not too intense. Like even right now on camera, you don't see a whole lot of it, but I'll tilt them, in the light at the end so you can actually see all the shimmery snow is basically what I'm going for. So I did all of that, set those aside. And then for my main sentiment, I'm using the Snow Cheer sentiments from Waffle Flower. And again, there's like snowman theme because you got to check out the release. There's some cute snowman themed products and more just, again, generic sentiments, but there's a couple holiday ones in there as well. So I used the Merry Christmas sentiment, and I just had a scrap of black cardstock that I put my anti-static powder tool on, and that just keeps the embossing powder from clinging to anything other than the stamped image. And I stamped the sentiment on there with clear embossing ink, and then I coated it with detail white embossing powder, tapped off the excess. I'm going to melt that with my heat tool till everything is smooth and shiny and melted. And then I'll use my microfiber cloth to buff away that excess anti-static powder because that shows up so nicely on dark cardstock. So just buff that away. And then there is a coordinating die set for these sentiments. So I'm going to use the coordinating wafer die to die cut both of these sentiments. And then once these are die cut, I'm then going to use the same stamp set and stamp another sentiment from the set onto the insides of my cards. So my card bases are top folding A2 white note cards, so 5.5 inches by 4.25 inches. And I'm going to stamp another sentiment from that set with that same Nocturne ink. And then once the sentiments are stamped, I'm going to stamp the little snowflakes from that Postage Collage North Pole set that I use as the cancellations on the actual little postage panel. And for this, I'm just using a light blue ink. This is Iceberg ink from Altenew. And I'd put my little snowflakes onto acrylic blocks and then just kind of stamp them around the sentiment on the background. And I purposely went with a light ink so that if I want to or need to write on top of them, I can, no biggie. So stamp those onto the insides of my cards. And then I'm going to adhere the card fronts to the card bases, again, just using craft tacky glue. Once the card fronts are adhered, I'm going to pop the sentiments into place, again, with just using some little foam squares. So lining up my little foam squares and then get the sentiment adhered. Once that's adhered, as my final little bit of embellishment, I was digging through my little Waffle Flower bin and I've got these candy dots. These are the Enchanted candy dots and they're self-adhesive, and the blue ones just went perfectly. It was like it was all meant to be. So I just peeled some of those off and stuck them around each of these cards. And once I was kind of happy with the placement on the first one, I'll just copy it for the second one so that everything is good to go. And then that's going to finish off these cards. So like I had mentioned in the intro, I'll post a link to the new release in the description box below the video so you can just check out all the new products. And then, of course, I will have links to all of the products I use there. See, when I tilt it in the light, you can see the shimmery splatter. I just get distracted like a magpie. Anyway, I'll have all those links in the description box below. And then, like I mentioned, at the very end of the video in the end screen, I'll have the playlist of all the videos I've done so far using the various Postage collage sets. And then I'll also have the playlist linked for my holiday 2024 series. You can check those out if you missed anything or are interested. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Bye. Thank you so much to my amazing Patreon supporters. For anyone that might be interested in joining my Patreon community and supporting me, the link to my Patreon is in the description box below the video. For everyone else, as always, thank you all so much for taking the time to watch my videos, for thumbs upping, commenting, subscribe if you haven't, I'd love to have you. And here's a couple other videos for you to check out in case you missed them. Bye!